And I would argue that these cartoonists should never have been killed. Of course they shouldn't, but they're still racist. It's not either we support the terrorists or we support the racists. No, we can have a middle ground. This is, I don't support these terrorists. I don't killing people for disagreeing with me, but neither am I going to support a racist who goes around demonising millions of people.
Douglas Murray, do you think these... Douglas Murray, let's bring you in now. Sorry. These cartoonists, do you think they were racists?
Could I please come in and correct? You've given goodness knows how much time to this extremist Ashgar Bukhari to have his say. Could I please now have my say about this? It's only 24 hours since a dozen people were gunned down in their offices in Paris. It's really rich that Sky News should be giving this platform at this moment
We're
to
giving
this
you your
man
platform, sir. Do give us your view.
Who you've also allowed to just smear the people who were murdered so brutally in Paris yesterday. You've just allowed them to smear those people as racist.
Not me.
Charlie Hebdo, let me please finish my point. Charlie Hebdo, you don't know this, like you don't know any of the background of this, Ashgar, but Charlie Hebdo is a secularist, far left-wing, anti-racist magazine. It has made a particular delight in recent years, quite rightly, of lampooning and attacking very virulently the far right-wing leader, Marine Le Pen. You say rubbish because you don't know what you're talking about.
I do.
Let me make the more important point. Let me make the more important point on this.
Debate, or are we going to talk about the actual issues here?
Let me make the important point on this, which is that this is not to do with the war on terror, as Ashgar Bukhari wants to talk about. This is about freedom of speech.
Please let him speak.
More importantly, you have been massively diverted in this programme from what has actually happened and why. What is going on at the moment, worldwide, and particularly in Europe, is an attempt to shut down any and all criticism of Islam, one religion alone. I'll hold up for a moment. Don't worry, it's not a cartoon of Muhammad. You don't have to get scared. This is the Christmas edition of Private Eye, an image which on the front cover lampoons, and quite rightly, quite amusing, not very, the Virgin Mary and Jesus, and has various jokes about where the frankincense should have been bought from and so on. That's perfectly commonplace. But you know what? If anyone had gone into Private Eye's offices yesterday and massacred the staff because of it in the name of Christianity or Jesus, I think that not only would all of the papers today have been a lot more robust, they would have shown, at the very least, shown this image to show what the person was who did the killing was so irate about. The fact is that there is something going on which we have to identify. It is an attempt in our societies to make Islam, and in particular the founder Islam, immune from any criticism. It cannot.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back, one and all, to the Dr. Nasir Shaikh Show. I'm your host, Dr. Nasir. And what do we have on tap for today, folks? Well, as you saw, we've got a clip here of Douglas Murray. And we're going to have another few clips of Douglas Murray where he got the best of the people that he was debating. Because what do we do here? I give you my political prescription from my political perspective on what happens when culture, science, Hollywood, entertainment, the media, and politics collide. So let's get to some more clips. We'll do that right now. Now, this debate was between Flavia Kleiner, who's a well-known leftist Marxist in Europe, and she was debating Douglas Murray. And we have a whole slew of videos. I think there's 9 or 10 of them that I put together of this entire debate. This is just one snippet where Douglas Murray absolutely crushes her when it's his turn to rebut what Flavia Kleiner says. So watch it and just sit back and watch the total destruction and demolition of Flavia Kleiner in only ways that Douglas Murray can do to his opponents.
Not once, but twice. Only fools and Douglas Murray would give up these lessons learned.
Is there anything, for starters, in Flavia's speech that you would agree with?
There wasn't very much in it. What I mainly got was an I want list, followed by a set of claims and rather presumptuous insults. It was hard to find any meat there at all on the bone. That might be because it's rather hard to find any work that Flavia has done other than a tiny campaign in a tiny country.
Oh my God, oh my God. Douglas just comes down on her with that velvet glove, but it hits like a freaking sledgehammer, doesn't it? I mean, he just, in just a few sentences, just absolutely crushes her. Anyways, let's continue.
By contrast, of course, it's obviously very much the case that she's read and absorbed everything I've written, which is why she's so happy to be so insulting when she meets me almost in person. So no, there wasn't very much to pick up on other than the rather ill-spoken, ill-lettered and rude attempts to attack me. And I'm sorry about that because I think that it demonstrates her own personal failing as much as it does a failing of the cause that she would like to lead before she got tired and decided to get out. And that is to say this: it's a shame that people like her refuse to engage on any of the important terrain. So much of my time in recent years has been spent engaging with serious actors with serious reputations, not people like Flavia, people who have spent their life working on these issues and have made very successful political careers, for instance, from doing so.
It's been about 90 seconds, and he's already insulted her very, very nicely, about 3 times already. And the insults are like really sharp-witted jabs, like
I've always noticed, wish to engage on the serious terrain. When I speak with leading politicians across Europe, who I happen to disagree with, I find that the most important and impressive ones do not get up and read bucket lists of what they'd like to do and then insult people. I find that they try to, for instance, understand what other people are thinking, and particularly try to understand what the public might be thinking. For instance, they might try to work out whether the public is sometimes trying to tell them something, and whether the public who they disagree with might not, in fact, be onto something on occasion. After all, it's very easy to draw rather comfortable lines around yourself and your own ideology, such as it is, and declare that everyone on the other side of it is, for instance, an evil populist or what is it, a fool? That's right, a fool. What an amazing way to speak about somebody else to their virtual face. And what an extraordinary way to speak about majority population votes in our continent. I see very little likelihood of anyone like Flavia, for as long as she remains in the public eye, being able to achieve anything much because she keeps dismissing the public.
All I can say is, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And this is just a little snippet, folks. This was a very long debate. Check out our YouTube page. Just type in, in the search bar, you know what to do. Flavia Kleiner, Douglas Murray, and you'll see, I think there's 8 or 9 videos that we put together of the entire debate. But it was all Douglas Murray. Anyways, let's continue on to another clip. We're going to go to that right now.
Our London guest into the discussion at this point. Do you think this attack will underscore the message of the far right in Europe, at least, of the incompatibility of Islam and the West, or Western values?
That's a pretty atrocious question, if I may say so. We're about 24 hours away from 12 people being gunned down in a newspaper.
Amazon hates this, but there's nothing they can do to stop it. There's a new electric lighter out there, and it's got the firepower of a military-grade flamethrower. It's already been banned from Home Depot, Amazon, and Walmart for being too powerful. But the company behind it, they're not playing ball with the big retailers, and they've sold over 3 million units in just the past 30 days. That's right, they're cutting out the middleman and slashing the price. This lighter called Fireblaze is unlike anything you've ever seen. It's been featured in all major newspapers like NBC News, Fox News, and even CNN. That's because it doesn't use butane or gas. Instead, it runs off Tesla coil technology, producing an 1800-degree plasma flame, powerful enough to burn through metal in seconds. And get this, it's fully electric, wind-proof, waterproof, and can start a fire anywhere, no matter the conditions. Fireblaze was originally designed for military use because the Army needed a lighter that would work in extreme weather, rain, snow, freezing cold, you name it. But after years of classified use on the battlefield, the patent recently expired, and and now civilians can get their hands on it. And here's the wild part. Some people are saying it could be banned again soon. Why? Because the U.S. Product Safety Committee thinks it's just too powerful for everyday folks to own. So while it's still on the market, people are scrambling to grab one before any restrictions kick in. This thing is built with military-grade materials, so it's going to last you a lifetime. Perfect for camping, hiking, hunting, or even just lighting the grill in your backyard. No more struggling with weak lighters that die on you when the wind picks up or the rain starts pouring. It's eco-friendly too. No toxic gases, no harmful chemicals. And you can recharge it with a simple USB cable. One charge lasts for up to 300 uses, and it's ready to go again in less than 2 hours. Here's the deal. Fireblaze refuses to be sold through any of the big retailers. By cutting out those middlemen, they're able to offer this game-changing lighter at half price. That's right, 50% off if you order today. But you've got to move fast. Last time they sold out in under 4 hours. So why risk paying full price tomorrow when you can get it at 50% off today? Check it out ASAP. Click the button in this video to grab yours at half price.
Office in the center of Paris in a European city because they offended, allegedly, Islamic blasphemy laws which France, Britain and other European countries do not have and do not believe in and do not follow. And for you to turn the question immediately, not on the people who've been massacred because of asserting their rights as European French citizens, but onto the alleged terrible discrimination of the French is really quite despicable.
So I didn't ask you anything about discrimination of the French. Let me repeat.
Wow. You see how, first of all, he starts off when you get a question like that and you really, want to sort of disarm the questioner in terms of the way he asked. He basically said, the question, sir, that you asked is, the premise is wrong, or he went not even with the premise is wrong, or we need to change the question or ask a different question. He just went to the fact that your question that you're asking is disgusting, revolting, it's despicable. And then he went on to basically say, why?
Repeat the question
you went straight onto the alleged backlash.
Let me ask you the question again in case you didn't understand it. Do you think this attack...
And now, this journalist didn't like the way that Douglas reframed the question and came on the attack. So he decides to what? Go after Douglas and say, let me rephrase the question so that you understand it. Maybe your intellectual capacity just couldn't really understand the trained question from a trained journalist to be asked. So let me just see if I can rephrase it for you to make it simpler. That's how he comes back at it. And then let's see what Doug has to say about this.
We are in our news bulletins talking in more detail about the actual attack. What you were invited to discuss in this show are the implications of what might follow the attack. Will it underscore the message of those who say there is an incompatibility between Western values and Muslim values?
No, you want to paint the narrative which you think turns immediately, not from the attackers, but on the French society, which you would like to portray. I'm giving you my answer, so why don't you listen to it? Which you...
Oh, I want an answer, sir. And Douglas Murray comes back with the velvet glove, hits like a sledgehammer. I'll give my answer. Why don't you listen to it first?
You would like to portray as somehow anti-Muslim or anti-Islamic or anything like this. Let's start from the fact that 12 people were massacred because European citizens asserted their right, which they have every right to do, to draw Muhammad just as they have the right to draw any other historical figure, which they believe in or don't believe in, it doesn't matter. They have that right. I don't think at this stage whether, a discussion of the far right in France or anything like that is really the point. The point is people were killed and gunned down for doing...
Now, this next clip I'm going to play is when Douglas Murray was in Qatar, Doha, Qatar, and he was a guest. Mark Lamont Hill was a guest. There was a couple of other panelists. And this was another, and the moderator there constantly was interrupting Douglas, citing her own facts, putting her own figures, using hyperbole. She didn't do it with the other guests, but she certainly did it with Douglas Murray. And you just got to watch away. We did a whole series on this, probably about, I think there's 6 or 7 debates. Check out our video list on this one here. Doha Qatar debates with Douglas Murray. But check out this clip, folks, and see for yourself.
Refugees, thank you very much. And with this, let me go to you, Douglas Murray, because much of your argument, Douglas, seems to be about the us versus them, the fact that, you know, we have our own values, our own Britishness, our own virtues, and they will come to our shores with their values, their traditions. You seem to almost suggest that they come to your countries with a lesser breed of values.
No, I don't think I said that at any point, and that's another time you've tried to put something in my mouth.
Right away, he says, that's another time. This happened, folks, throughout these debates. Check out our videos. I mean, ad nauseum. She was just very, very irritating.
When you talk about the difference in values, what do you suggest?
Look, first of all, I didn't say that. I said that there are challenges because we do know that there are challenges, and let's just be frank about this. I mean, for instance, I've been in the Gulf for the last week or so. I see more burqas in my home city of London than I have seen in the Gulf in recent days, certainly here in Doha. Now, I can't say I'm delighted by the sight of more and more burqas in London. Do I feel any hatred of the people who wear them? Of course not. Of course not. But I can't say I'm elated by it. And definitely there are times I think, you know, what percentage of burqas in this area becomes like not that pleasant for everyone else?
But again, is it all down to burqas? Because again, you're not asking people with other traditions whether they care about the sight of people drinking alcohol or showing up in bikinis.
We could in Britain.
Western-centric viewpoint.
I have to say, you're going to bark up the wrong tree if you think you're going to persuade a Brit that we should stop drinking alcohol because of people arriving in our country. I mean, that's not going to happen. These things are all a bit of give and take.
You bring your own traditions that don't quite fit with theirs.
Well,
they don't.
Yeah, there are, as I said, and before we got all confrontational.
So you saw right there the moderator basically saying, well, what about the refugees and the immigrants that are coming over to Western countries, Western democracies, and they might not like some of the customs or things that you're doing. So does that mean that the country now that is taking in these refugees and these immigrants, they've got to change their customs to be more welcoming? Or should it be the other way around? What is it? And Douglas basically is saying is, you know what, they've got to change. They can bring their cultures, but we're not going to give up what we value as a nation, what we value as a culture. That's why they call it in the United States of America a melting pot, where these cultures sort of melt together along with what it means to be American. Anyways, we've got another, I think our final clip here. We're going to put that on. It's another great one, folks. So stay tuned and watch.
Very quickly, I don't know, Ava, anything about your career. I don't know if you have one. But you did try to imply that you knew something about mine, and you just showed you know nothing about it, because actually my 2017 bestseller, The Strange Death of Europe, was not about the EU. So you should learn at some point to read more than the title of the book before commenting upon it.
It was about migration.
Let me very quickly...
And how rude are you? How rude are you?
Very quickly,
You've built a career out of fear-mongering, and you're now importing those evangelical American ideas onto UK television. It's very odd.
Wow, Douglas goes right after him. I mean, he goes right after from the beginning. He says, I don't know who you are. I don't know anything about your career. We've done another great video on this. It's a little bit longer, and we basically, you know, listen from the guy here with the gay pride tie, you know, whatever, Ava. So check out that video later on, you know, in our video library. But I think, you know what, you might have missed it, went by so fast in terms of, you know, Douglas is so quick-witted, he's so cutting, that sometimes, okay, you miss the stuff there. So let's go back, watch that 45 or 46 second snippet again, and so you can actually hear once again how quick-witted and how cutting Douglas Murray is, as he literally gets the best of this young woman.
Okay, Douglas. Very quickly, I don't know, Ava, anything about your career. I don't know if you have one. But you did try to imply that you knew something about mine, and you just showed you know nothing about it, because actually my 2017 bestseller, The Strange Death of Europe, was not about the EU. So I
hope you appreciate those videos that we put together. just some various times that Douglas Murray absolutely got the best when he was discussing or debating journalists or opponents. Anyways, folks, we appreciate the take your time to watch. You've been watching the Dr. Nasir Shaikh Show. I've been your host, Dr. Nasir. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to our channel. Like, share, and follow us. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Check out our video links above and below. And I'll leave you with my final thought, which is, when you're right, and when you're left, you're wrong. Until next time, folks, take care and stay safe.